welcome back to a nice crisp
Return.
to one hit. Hey,
High points. Let me get to my line. I'm just kidding.
wow.
I'm kidding. Yeah, this is Kareem.
And this is Travis.
Yeah.
And welcome back. We've been away for a moment. Just
A moment. It's been like 5 months.
yeah, it's been a while. But you know what? I think we're a little excited to get back and see what we have to do or say.
Yeah, there's been some life events that have been happening or unfolding for the world to see. Of course, we're seeing what's been going on with Gaza and with the United States funding of Israel's kind of onslaught onto the people of Palestine, whether in Gaza or the West Bank. And we're kind of asking ourselves here now, when we're in this present state of mind, what would we do if there was a genocide happening? Things that we've discussed and read in history books. What would you be doing right now?
Yeah, we ask ourselves that, I think, even as we learned with history throughout the past, as we, multiple genocides throughout the world, that has happened, there's been some large ones, some small ones, and everyone sits there and asks the question, well, how do you allow that to happen? Or why did we let that happen? And now we have to sit here and look at ourselves on, we're letting it happen. It's not the past anymore. It's the present. And it's...
If you ever challenged yourself then, and said, like, when you were reading, like, I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. And, like, how can humanity ever have let this happen? And, of course, some people, they learn about history and they're like, oh, well, whatever. Doesn't pertain to me now. I'm in the modern world. But they forget that these echoed systems still, translate to today's world, where we think we have iPhones now and social media and that we're very civilized and war just seems outdated. Well, look, war isn't outdated to some, democracies in the world that claim they lead with democracy and spread democracy, but look at what costs. Sometimes it just seems like a true facade. And I came back speaking with Travis about creating content again for One Hit High Points, and I think the reason why I took a step back is to not get too political, as this was supposed to kind of dismantle the emotional reactiveness that politics could bring. But I think what we're seeing now is something that's really humbling to the whole world, that it's not just a political stance that you're taking when you're supporting, humanity and what's happening in Gaza. It's more or less about what would you do, if your spirituality, your humanity was being challenged, because I do believe there is spiritual warfare all around us and we have a choice.
Yeah.
We're void of political stance. This is affecting the rest of the world. Everyone is being shocked and traumatized who has any semblance left of humanity within them. And bringing in this episode, back after 5 months, or this, podcast back after 5 months, is about taking that time to find the meaning of what all this means, at the same time as, mourning the loss of innocent life in such a drastic and unimaginable way.
Yeah, and I think also, encouraging people to look at things through a different perspective or a different lens than how it's always been presented to us. I think that's important, to always just kind of question the status quo and look at things differently. Because so much of it is that, I think, growing up is we're kind of told to believe certain things or look through a lens of certain things, and we're kind of molded into certain situations. So, a part of this podcast is also kind of looking at it from different angles and kind of really challenging your norm or the box that you might live in, and make sure that we don't live in this box, because the world's a lot more complex than what we're told. Maybe not even complex, but controlled.
I think that we're, at least for me, I'm going to try to consciously, approach every episode moving forward to, speak about what's going on in the world, of course, especially since this is just the most horrific thing happening actively live right now. It's hard because you want to be able to talk about other things, other, facets of life that we maybe want to address or focus on, because it's a little less horrific than what's happening in Gaza. But, I think with every episode moving forward, I think there should be, just for the sake of being able to keep each other informed and aware, add a little bit of insight into what's happening in Gaza and talk about it. I mean, I get choked up even thinking about it now, because it feels almost it feels like I'm just in a nightmare in this dystopic world where nothing quite feels like it makes sense. Going back to normal life, posting about normal things, talking about normal things. It just seems like this is one of those things that we just, you talked about earlier, where you studied in history books, but now it's happening in real time. And at least for me, I just feel like, I don't want to say shocked and traumatized to the point where I can't function, but it's almost like the system is doing this on purpose, and I have to see through that pain to continue to be a voice and continue to stand up against evils without being complacent. And if I can inspire anybody, one person, it can create a ripple effect to change. So
yeah, definitely some dominoes that can be there. And that's, I think, the encouraging part that I was mentioning is in kind of listening. We're not necessarily going to fully tell you what to believe, but, at least challenge your beliefs on, those type of things and go, seek the information further, or, send us questions or comments and we can have a further discussion. That could be fun. I don't know about that, but
yeah, we can have a live stream one day and just, discussing and talking about current events and like what's specifically happening in real time. Because again, I can go back and reference from October 7th to now and just kind of see and dismantle every bit of propaganda, but it's already been dismantled. And if you do any bit of research, any basic research, you'll see how the lies and the propaganda from the Zionist regime has been very well designed to just be the system that is so established in every part of our society, in American society, that you cannot challenge it, you cannot question it, because then you will be canceled, you will be blackmailed, you will be whatever it is that is meant to take you down for challenging something that is so blatantly evil. And I'm not saying that self-determination of Jewish people is in any way, shape, or form linked back to some type of evil, or that is in itself evil. No, I'm saying that there is a clear agenda that is meant to use Jewish trauma to create this conflict over in Palestine / Israel, to kind of keep us distracted, to keep us fighting, to be this constant symbolic sense of war within our fabric of humanity, so that whenever we progress as humanity, whenever we start to see that these things are wrong, we're almost brought back to that barbaric mindset and reminded that this still does exist. This is still something that is part of humanity, the ugly stain. And when we're allowing it to happen, what was all of those years of being progressive and saying no to these types of onslaughts? I mean, I know they've always existed. I know they've always been spread out throughout the world, but this is just, it's ugly. It's the most documented genocide in history, and we're seeing it in real time. And
it's crazy because, especially like you just said, it's the most documented genocide in history, but at the same time, we're just not doing enough, or not doing.
We're doing it. We're actually as a country, we're creating it. Our taxpayer money is funding this.
And I think that's the piece that people often say is, and how does this relate to me? And I think that's the piece right there. Is then what, your money's going to this. Is do you support that? And my guess is your answer is going to be no. And your answer is going to be, well, my money here could be focused on this or that, or the other things that might become more personal. And I think there you go, is in, it's related to everyone because your money's going for it. So no,
I think if you are someone who wants to live in this country as a proud American, as everyone that I know, at least in my personal circle, people I speak to, strangers, we all want America to be a better place for Americans, because we live here. We pay taxpayer money. We work hard. We want to enjoy ourselves, our lives, these short lives.
Yeah.
And we have to be able to do our part as Americans to really stand through of what it means to be an American, not the American in terms of, a past genocide we committed to even be here, but an American as we're here now, and we need to do right. We need to live right. We need to remember what democracy even means, if it even means anything anymore. And as someone who is not part of any specific political party, I want to see my neighbor live well. I want to see my fellow countryman, patriot live well. And it all starts with our taxpayer money and what we're willing to support and not speak out against. And if you want a better life for yourself here, yes, what's happening in Gaza affects you. Do I want all walks of life and humanity to have peace and self-determination? Absolutely. As someone who was born half Syrian, half Palestinian, but in this country, mother from Syria, father from Jerusalem, I do not see myself caring that much as if it's a flag waving above my head, or it's this identity that truly dictates how I treat people. No, not at all. Spirituality is so unique to the individual. I live by my own unique connection to God. But I will be damned if, as a human being, a fellow human being of this planet, I'm not completely just horrified and disgusted and just heartbroken in so many ways unimaginable, to even know that I lost my mom several years ago, and I feel this heartbreak again. I didn't even know I can feel. I didn't know I can feel this way again. And this would be how I would feel for any walk of life, because it's happening to multiple walks of life. People in Sudan, Congo, Yemen.
Yeah.
Okay, it's other places in the world. Darfur, I know, has always been, as a kid, I've always heard about horrific stories with there and the starvation there. And what's happening in Palestine right now, we can see that it's happening in such a blatant way. And I think that's the difference of why the world's on this, because we're looking at this one system and we're seeing that the same system that's happening in the most documented way is also happening to other places. So by dismantling this form of it, which is actually ironically woven into the same genocides happening throughout the world, even with Armenia, okay, these against Armenians, these same practices are still happening, and it's all coming from one real evil system. And if you do more research, and I won't get into it, you'll see that this one system is meant to dismantle all these areas for colonialism, power, resources.
Yeah, I often sit back and look at, more on how the United States was founded. And I've always sat there and questioned on like, wow, white man coming over to the United States and just like decimating everything. And some might say, no, that's not exactly what happened, whatever. But there's enough history that we know that there's a lot of innocent lives that were lost at the cost of what? Someone wanting power and land. And
I think there's a lot of people that are conscious of those past horrors, but that's why we're trying to do better. And I do believe we could do better as a country, and we will do better as a country, but we have these completely abhorrent, just not even functioning mentally. Yeah, you know what? It comes to a point where when your anxiety over something so just dystopic is happening, it almost feels like your brain can't function. And I think it's crazy. This is a system that's meant to shock and traumatize. And for many people, it's working, and they're stuck and they don't know how to help. And for people like me, I'm kind of there at times, but I'm also trying my best to fight something that is just truly hurting and darkening my soul. And I'm seeing that if this evil can be so blatant and around us and so present around us, then I have to believe that this is a spiritual warfare.
Of course, I think that God tells us that, the devil lives amongst us. And, I think that's what we're experiencing the most and what we're combating against the most. And we're living it in the most, the scriptures, I think we're clear on that. And and I think,
but even not to get, I can divulge in the whole spirituality and the biblical acts, right? I can do that. But even just like you strip that all away as a human being, how do you even feel emotionally? Even if you understand there's no life after death, if you're one of those people.
I think it goes back to that box that, we're, at least here in the United States, that we're kind of told to live in, is like, grow up, do this, get the job, get the paycheck, get this, and then we become a part of the system, and that's the box. And it's hard for us to kind of look outside of that box, because we made we're in the box and we love the box. Like, I think that's really, like, I don't know how to explain it. I think it's more, I'm not justifying any of it. Exactly. We think that we're doing good. We think that, Americans for the most part, I think, are selfish in a way that is in, they say that, oh, it doesn't affect me, that's over there, that's there, that's not affecting my house, it's not affecting this, and people just become complacent. And it is,
and that's the ignorance and the stupidity and the blatant stupidity. I mean, we have enough knowledge, enough education, we have enough footage, we have enough reporting from independent news sites, from social media. I mean, I know people want to shit on social media, but guess what? We're getting more real on the ground footage and honest raw data and facts than we are getting from our own mainstream media. That is completely outdated, and no one watches it. And the practice of it is outdated. I mean, we know it's all lies and propaganda. Propaganda does not work anymore. We have enough resources to know honest, actual reporting if you just do basic research. But we have certain generations that came before us, and unfortunately, I can list several that are so deeply brainwashed by this very system that became their identity, their political identity, how they believe being an American is about being. And it's to the point now where, we have cancel culture, but then we have anti-woke culture, and you're seeing this kind of combative forces against one another. Yet again, another system created to divide people, and any person with any, like I said, semblance of humanity and just general understanding of how humanity works can know how blatantly and I keep using the word blame because it's just that obvious. It's obvious how everything is working right now to just completely distract people. I mean, as new COVID advancements come out, I can even get into that touchy subject about how COVID has basically all been a scam, and Dr. Fauci has basically, been caught in so many, just so many lies that, I don't want to get into all this because, it's a lot. There's a lot of pain in the world. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of shock. And I think, getting back into this and getting back into a routine of speaking about it is better than not speaking about it, because I have spoken about it a lot with you and with friends and family, but I want to be able to connect with people again and feel that, if anyone,
you want to try to build that community, and because
yeah,
there's probably others out there that are thinking and feeling the same that you are, and maybe this is the connection that
I know
kind
there
of
is. There's millions of people.
no, correct.
Yeah.
And then also that this allows those that are kind of questioning things to fully questioning things and actually be okay with questioning their thoughts, because that having that affirmation or that confirmation that it's okay to question the world on what's happening, that's good, that's healthy, because you know what, even if you question it and you still like your opinion doesn't change, not saying about the genocide, but I'm saying more of just in general, you question things in life and you say, okay, yeah, I'm still right. You like, it's growth.
I know I'm
It's
right
growth.
about this topic because I'm a human being and I have a
No,
heart,
correct.
and
But I'm saying
have many
questioning is
feelings.
good, and questioning is good.
And I know that people who, because I'm not looking for validation from anybody in, putting information out. I know what I know, and I know there's millions of people throughout the world that know what they see and hear, and have, again, a heart and are a human being. They can understand basic facts. This podcast now is turning more into a tool to be able to connect with as many people that are like-minded, as well as people that are willing to be open-minded, so that we can have honest, open discussions, so that we can kind of take away the emotional reactiveness of ignorance, but rather opening our minds to connect in different ways we never thought we could. And, sharing ideas and forms of change for a better future for all of us. Because at the end of the day, what are we here for then? To fight each other until the day we die and not enjoy our lives? We have to be here to aspire to be the best people we can be, not only for ourselves, but for those around us, because that's what stops the vicious circle. It starts with us.
Starts with us. It goes back to your comment that you said before, is a ripple effect, the domino effect. It takes one little person, and if you get another person and another person, and then it just starts trickling, and that's just the importance of speaking. And I think that's the piece that we've lost, and that's the piece that we've said, when we started this podcast, that we wanted to do, is bring the conversation back to the topic and
back to humanity, find it, unlock it, dismantle the programming of social media in the negative way, which is to be living a facade of a life, like a falsehood, a highlight reel. Because again, social media can be an informative platform and an informative tool. It can be a lot of great things. You can make a business on there. You can share your art, expression. There's so many great things, but do not allow it to be just one thing. Allow it to be many things that are also not only just for fun, hobby, but also for things that could be used for good things. Like when, events that are happening right now in Gaza, this can be a tool for more than just a selfie or for promoting a vacation and your lifestyle and whatever. You can do more with it. And hopefully, like I said, with these types of conversations coming out more frequently, we can start to connect with some of our friends and family and really spread the message of unity and yeah, it's one podcast at a time, guys. I mean,
and one hit
at a time. In fact, on that note, we should have a hit, because
and a 1 point. It's 1 point and one hit.
1 point that we've made. I think we made many points, but
you're too cute. You can't see him, but he's cute.
Yeah, this is the king of the castle. But anyway, so we'll take this one hit to celebrate getting back. We take a hit every episode.
And stay tuned for some more fun and exciting topics.
What I was going to say was we're going to take this hit, okay, to celebrate. This is the celebratory hit that we're coming back and that I need this hit because that was a hard conversation.
Now, I actually think we're both equally excited to get started with this. You know, it's the break. Yeah, it's unfortunate that it happened, but I also think that, yeah, the break was nice in a way. I think it allowed us to think and come up with like new things and kind of things to experiment along the way with. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I needed a time apart. I wanted to take the emotional emphasis out of every episode in a way that would come off biased, but I'm realizing now there's no bias here anymore. Bias has left the building. There's just facts, and what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is facts, and every fact points to we need to do better. All of us need to do better, and we can do better. And on that note, take a hit, stay open-minded, keep your humanity, and God bless.
Amen.